Imagine falling. Imagine falling all the way down. Whoa! You'd be dead before you even hit the ground. No oxygen. You didn't see it. Wouldn't even see Earth. You go through it, you'd be like, oh, this is cool. But you'd have a good view of Earth for a little while. Or you suffocated. That's NASA. This is a live feed from NASA. What it's like on the space station. A spacewalk. There's no day or night in space. Did you know that? That's an Earth thing. The sun. The sun is stationary. The Earth rotates like this. Right? And the moon goes around the Earth like that. When you're in space, the Earth can do whatever it wants. You're just attached to the Earth, but its rotation, nothing to do with you, is rotating. You're just watching it. Actually, there's astronauts typically they move and they can like chase the horizon. Very cool. Space is so cool. We're gonna get into that too. We're gonna get into Mars later. Like, what's life like going to be on Mars? What are we gonna have jobs on Mars? We're gonna work. We're gonna have space bucks when you make money on Mars, right? Yeah, we're gonna call them Marloonies. Get it? Canada, loony. We're gonna call them Marloonies. That's gonna be fun. So we're going to talk a little bit about that later on. We're going to talk about the Oculus, and more importantly, the Oculus product by Facebook for business, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about some inventions, which kind of goes in with virtual reality, because one time it was an invention that was, just a failure. The technology wasn't there, but somebody built it. And if you look at the image that we have in the thumbnail there, that image is of the inventor of the virtual reality system, and that one that you can see there is the first one. Right. Okay. So, yeah, that's it. Is it Jorgensen? Oops. Sutherland. (1962) Right? Wild. Bob Sproul. That guy's name is... Give me this. Yes, I've been looking for this name. Forgot. Nobody wants to just tell me his name. Yeah, see? Listed as Hugo Gernsback. That's him right there. The guy in the thumbnails. Hugo Gernsback. Hugo Gernsback believe millions yearn for his 3D TV eyeglasses. So that's kind of an early invention of virtual reality. It's come a long way since Hugo Gernsback. But you know what? We still got a long way to go. It's good, but you know we're not there yet. We got to be better. We got to be better at it. Just down a little bit. How about we go down to like 50%? Like that? That's not even the thing. Can't have one without the other. Right? It's live. It's all live editing. See, listen to that. You get to watch people float in space. Right? Why not? So, but we are going to look at the Oculus product by Facebook. Can you believe Facebook comes out with like a business product? And the funny thing about the Oculus Business is that it works with the Facebook Workspace. Have you ever seen Workspace? Have you ever seen Facebook Workspace? Facebook Workspace is like this like group chat that Facebook developed so everybody could sort of chat in the office. But, you know, catch-22, most offices say, stay off Facebook, you know. So imagine going to work and saying, hey, everybody, when you guys get into work today, can you everybody turn on their Facebook and please log in? So I guess that would be hard to sell for some people, is their Facebook logins. Distraction. I'm gonna log into my Facebook and you know, do the work, and then oh, did you know Mary's getting married to Bobby? Oh, I gotta post something. Oh, there goes half hour. Facebook and work. I don't know, Facebook and work. However, this Oculus Business by Facebook might be their little segue into getting people to use, you know, Facebook and take Facebook a little more seriously for business. Okay, so let's see what this Facebook product is, the Oculus Quest 2. Let's have a look at what it is all about. Okay, their website's pretty good, I have to admit. So it's got a separate website for the business. It's called business.oculus.com. So it's meant for business, right? There it is. There it is. This guy is pretending to drive a car, and he might crash it. Maybe. You know, he might survive, but he's not. I don't think he's got quite the sizing down of the steering wheel in relation to, you know, where he's going. I think he's missed that one there. So that's it. So transform work with virtual reality. Transform your work. I'd like to transform my work. I'd like to transform my paycheck from maybe another digit over. Couple more zeros on the end of it. Not on the end of it. Before the decimal. People say, oh, yeah, just add any amount of numbers you want after the decimal. That's a joke. So what's the point? Virtual reality for business Oculus. What's the point of this? What's it going to be used for? Okay, so this guy's kind of driving a car here. Virtual reality on Oculus for Business eliminates physical barriers and provides powerful new ways to connect, collaborate, and learn. I'll tell you something. When you're a copywriter and you're writing to make a website, there's two major elements to making a website. One is the graphic design work and the artistic work and all that wonderful stuff. But the other side is the copyright. You don't usually see copywriters doing the graphic work and vice versa. Rarely do you see that. Usually it's one or the other. So this thing right here, this little opening line that you see on the front of a website is wicked powerful, right? It takes they probably had meetings, sat down and had, cross-referenced, with focus groups and that was probably just for this, right? That was one. This was 2 weeks. Yeah. That tagline was 2 weeks. Costs about $80,000 in man hours. Figure that one. Transform work with virtual reality. They probably had to vote on it. I don't know what they did. I'm just guessing, obviously. Right here, this is another virtual reality on Oculus or Business eliminates physical barriers and provides powerful new ways to connect, collaborate, and learn. Probably another 2 weeks on that one. Probably total for this whole two sentences here. That was probably like a month. Just figuring it out. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Well, of course. This person who does this, uber talented, very talented, very talented. Equally as talented is the person that does this, right? And it doesn't stop there. The reason why is, as great as this is, if you don't have any copy on there, Google's like, well, who are you? You're just a bunch of pictures? They need to know, man. They read content. Content is king. You need to be able to write this stuff, right? Writing is powerful. Discover the powers of VR. See all these copy here. Yeah, I get it. So these are the things that they say it does for work. Real-time collaboration. Put on a headset and instantly share virtual workspace with anyone, anywhere. Okay. Sure. So we can talk. We can do it on a phone too. I don't need to be in some virtual reality world, but that's okay. That's okay. That's fine. It's kind of like a Zoom. Super Zoom. Zoom meeting times 1,000. Spatial memory. Learn quickly and retain information better through muscle memory and contextual experiences. Contextual kind of makes it sound like there's texture. Virtual reality doesn't really have texture. That would be like a 4D, not 3D, right? Where there's like another level, maybe smell, right? 7D, smell, shaky around, texture. In that case, you might as well just be there. Cheaper. Spatial memory, but that's true. I mean, we do have a better memory when we have a higher degree of interaction with what we're trying to remember. That's true. Sure. Big dollar savings. This one, they hang on this one for a bit here. Now, how does virtual reality save big dollar savings? Like, how do you save with VR? It's cool. How do you save with it? Collaborate without the added costs of travel, live events, in-person training, and more. So you don't have to travel to your trade shows. You can interact with the trade show. You can, interact with, factory tours and stuff like that. And yeah, and you can training. They hang on this training thing a bit. Big thing for them, right? Yeah, I can see that. Big save some money there, right? Time efficiencies. Maximize time together with 3D screen sharing, virtual whiteboarding, and easy iteration. Okay, that's kind of like this one, a little fancier, right? Kind of. Virtual whiteboarding, get it? I mean, you don't really need 3D glasses for that. It's a whiteboard. It's a whiteboard is a board. It's 2D, so you don't really need 3D for a board. You can do it with like a, you get it. Unlimited redos. Master the tasks through repetition or iterate on designs with no additional cost. They use iterate. It's iteration and iterate, right? It's supposed to be like convey a message, right? Look at this. Iterate. Iteration. Repetition process of utterance. Repetition mathematical computation whose application typically means obtaining successful closure version of a piece of computer software. Repetition. Iteration. Example of iteration. Repeat multiple times. So like factory work. So you can train people by, instead of, showing them how to do it, right? You have them do it and a bunch of times, and they sort of just, their muscle memory figures it out, and they sort of, so you learn differently. You learn more hands-on. So unlimited redos as tasks through repetition or iterator designs. Yeah, we just read that. High stakes, less risk. Okay, so this is interesting here. Train for high risk processes and procedures in a safe environment. Well, yeah, it's very safe. It's a virtual, so it's super safe, provided you don't like step out of the boundary and like fall off a cliff, because that's not very safe, or like run into a wall because you're wearing the thing. But you'll see in a bit as we go through it, they have cameras on the front of the goggles, so, and then you map out the floor, and as soon as you go where it's safe to be, and as soon as you go outside of that, the cameras turn on and you're in like real world. So they figured out that putting cameras on the front of it is better, and it saves you from smashing into a wall. Or as the videos that we're going to watch after this, hilarious videos, is people doing stupid things in virtual reality. It's coming up soon. So possible, impossible scenarios. Well, back to this here. Remember, high-risk process procedures in a safe environment. So when I first read this, procedures in a safe environment, I was thinking like surgery, like, so you could like do virtual reality surgeries and things like that. And you could train people to do that, which is important. You can see that. One of the issues that all this stuff's gonna have is like the media to make it, and like the graphics on that side. Like I'm sure it's capable of doing all that, but somebody has to create this and then put it into the virtual world. So that's a bit of an obstacle for it's a bit of a hard sell, but once it's done it's done. Possible and impossible scenarios. Train and collaborate in ways that would be impossible or unsafe to recreate in the real world. It's kind of this one. So let's say you're training somebody to work on a high wire bridge, and there's only enough room for one person, or even a space, right? Spacewalks. Right? Virtual reality, spacewalks. It's a big thing. So yeah, that's tough to do, impossible. Or maybe let's say you are training on how to handle molten lava. Not something you can really practice with. No, practice with this molten lava, and then we'll show you how to use molten lava also. Just practice with this molten lava. Now, who would use molten lava? Who would practice molten lava? Well, likely the scientific community, possibly. If you're a geologist, who knows? So all kinds of things for that. Yep. Varied perspectives. Learn soft skills and step into different viewpoints to develop insights and build empathy. I have a feeling the human resources department had something to do with this, right? So I guess maybe you can interact with people or like with AI, like train on how to have empathy. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. But I think that's why they stuck it at the last. All right, let's put that at the last there. You know, build empathy. Empathy is a tough one to teach people. Companies have a tough time teaching empathy, right? You kind of have to know it. You kind of have to already be a little sensitive and empathetic to people. Okay? So here's some of the numbers like you would see on many websites. Improvement in performance seen by Johnson & Johnson when using virtual reality training. Review case study. 233%. That's serious efficiencies. These are numbers. Like if when they can make up these numbers, and Johnson Johnson's not going to just be like, oh, you used our name. This is real. But Johnson Johnson, industry healthcare. See, look, the developer. So they have to hire these developers probably. It's probably not cheap. But Johnson Johnson is just a little company. I'm sure they'll be okay. While we watch this short little video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this bottle of wine here. It is my birthday on Sunday, so I'm going to have a little bit of this wine as an early celebration. Let's see here. Turn this down a little bit. Oh, they do this all. Happens all the time.
I'm the head of education here at Johnson & Johnson Institute, and our responsibility is to train surgeons all around the world. Today, we have a real problem that on a global basis, there's not enough access to safe healthcare because we don't have enough surgeons trained. We are so excited about the Oculus Quest, and it's simple. You want your residents, at the first time they touch a patient, to be really ready for that moment, and that's what virtual reality has allowed us to do. You now have the mobility to take it closer to the surgeon so they don't have to travel, and with the hand tracking, you are going to get performance feedback and metrics that are really going to help them understand how they're doing that procedure. Traditionally, we would have spent 2 to 3 hours in hands-on training that can now be completely replaced with a 1-hour session in Oculus. We really aspire to be that trusted partner and educator with our healthcare professionals all over the world. And it's critical that we have partners like Oculus to create that wonderful platform where we can then deliver our virtual reality content to anybody, anywhere, and at any time.
Anytime. Facebook Connect. Oh. There it is again. I can do that right now. We'll do Nestle Purinas as well. Salespeople, a month. They save 100,000 a month in pet food. Sell the pet food product. Oh, they don't have a video. Oh, that's nowhere near as fun. Kudos to Johnson & Johnson. Download full case study. It's there. Anybody wants to read it, it's there. On the web. It's on the website. Hilton. Well, they got some big companies using this product. Oh, this again. Play.
We make decisions that impact the team members. Every day at the corporate office, we make decisions that impact the team members at the hotel.
Is that Paris Hilton? Oh.
So we really needed to make sure that our corporate team members understand the complexity of working in a hotel. Oculus for Business has really shifted the way we work. We can truly upskill team members faster and really focus on empathy building, which was a game changer for us.
We then said we can use this tool to be able to really help our team members practice different scenarios of building empathy with our guests and make sure that we're delivering
hospitality might help
Hi,
with
I'm here to check
empathy.
in.
If
I get
we
it.
were to try to do this in a traditional setting, when you have 400,000 team members, that is not something that comes in an inexpensive way for us, and nor do I think it's
Serious.
realistic.
Every time there's been a significant advancement in the way you interact with computers, something great happens. So when the Quest came out, it was groundbreaking for us because just like that, you have 60 OF possibilities for your experiences. Having all this available to you allows you to concentrate in what's most important, that getting what the client sees when they close their eyes and making it happen.
To me, virtual reality is absolutely the future of learning. It just genuinely immerses the team member in the experience.
Once you see this and can experience how much it can build empathy and change behavior, it's really the best tool by which we can simulate a real experience.
When clients ask, how can we develop this? How can we create this for the masses? Now we have an answer for them, the Quest.
Quest. This is very true. Oh. Oh, really?
Irresistibly delicious. Pour some almond brie for the maestros of the creamiest ever must-have smoothies. It's irresistibly delicious.
Ads. This is 2021 brings.
Hello and
I'm not gonna be able to
welcome
watch
to
this.
Tuesday,
They're gonna get all mad at me.
Tuesday.
This one's okay.
Every day at the corporate office,
Yeah. Every day at the corporate office. Okay. That's great. Every day at the corporate office. That's Hilton. It's pretty big. 6,000 properties, 117 countries. Yeah, I can see how they cut down on a lot of time and by sort of centralizing it. And they probably had like, a whole bunch of Zoom calls over the last year. So I would imagine everybody's sort of used to the Zoom calls. And the Oculus Business is probably just a more advanced version of that. So, I mean, we're still getting used to everybody working on Zoom. I don't know how far away everybody just common using virtual reality to do business. I don't know. Who knows? It's probably coming soon. Anyways, I'll do this now. I'm going to show everybody sort of a little device. Oh, look at this, a secondary camera. Secondary camera. Aerate the wine. Okay. Oops. Boop. Aerate the wine. Pour it in. Hear the aeration. Creates more oxygen, oxidizes the wines and releases some of the flavors in it. There's a little holder here, but yeah, forgot it upstairs. I forgot it in the lobby at the bar. at the corporate headquarters. There you go. That's what we're having today. We're gonna have a little bit of wine, and yeah, and that's that. So you can put the cork back in though. You don't want to oxidize too much. We actually have a decanter, which if you use the decanter, one of the issues with decanters is that you use a decanter, you get the wine into the decanter, and it's great. The wine tastes delicious, but it starts its oxidization process right away, and you kind of got to drink it. So if you're not going to drink it all like that night, you don't really want to decanter it. Right now, there's a new decanter out there that has like a little floating thing that it decanters it, and then you can turn it, and it floats, and the float sort of goes up and down. A cool invention, right? A cool invention and useful because it allows you to decanter your wine and then store it. That's a product. So without further ado, we'll turn on the tunes again, considering we shut them all down. Shut them down! Shut them all down! Anybody know what that's from? Star Wars. Come on, it's from Star Wars, obviously. Trash compactor. Shut them down. Shut them all down. So, where were we? Oculus Business. Sip of the wine. Oculus Business. Let's keep moving through here. With Virtual Reality Hilton, can reduce in class training to 20 minutes from 4 hours. They probably had to like set you up in a hotel. Oh, so you're gonna miss out on that. By the way, what the wine that we're drinking tonight. Okay. This is the wine that we're drinking tonight. That's really good, by the way. That's really good. There we go. Cabernet Sauvignon. 2017. It's got some body to this one. Delicious wine. Foreign Affairs. That's a VQA. That's a wine in Ontario. Delicious wine. Wonderful wine. Definitely worth the extra little bit of money. And by the way, everybody, if you're a cork, everybody's saying, well, it can't be good if it doesn't have a cork. Only corked wines are good. That's not necessarily true, right? So you can still get some pretty decent uncorked wines with a screw top on it. So don't eliminate them all. Okay, don't be afraid to try one. Okay, wine doesn't have to be very expensive to be good. That one just happens to be, middle of the road type thing. It's a little more expensive than the average wine, but not that bad. I think there's a piece of dust in here. Oh, that's so good. Should I be like a sommelier? I whoosh around my mouth and I spit it out. Oh, it's a full-bodied, very fruity, with strong oak in the tannins. Just shut up and drink it. Okay, anyways, where were we? Hilton screwing everybody out of hotel rooms for the training employees. Oh, I meant, yeah, that's pretty good. 20 minutes, 4 hours. That's probably pretty good. Probably don't have to be on site to do it. But the problem is that what do you do? Like, everybody needs to have a VR headset. So unless you have one, and even if you do have a VR headset, just because you have like an Oculus 2, doesn't mean it's loaded with the business technology on it. And unfortunately, you have to like erase it all and then upload it again. We can find that to prove it. There's a frequently asked questions, and that's the first question. Can I buy this and write it off so I can play with it? Just call it a business expense, and I can have it home. Yes, except for you'll have to keep erasing it and reinstalling it and start all over again. So let's check the Discord. I'm being in the Discord. Oh, I didn't even have it on. Woo! I have an apps. Keep your stuff organized, guys. Business Insight tonight. All right. Okay, so we are going to continue role-playing with virtual guests to proactively solve problems. Everybody see where that went? Role-playing with virtual guests. Looking to the future. Hilton innovation is in our DNA. Innovation. Hilton's superpowers. Varied perspective, so the empathy. So they check off next level engagement. Where was that? That's a new one. That wasn't showing. I didn't see next level engagement. They had a new one. Hilton invented a new one of these things that they do. Well, now, a special. See what business looks like in VR. All right, so here's another video we're going to watch. Probably going to do the same thing again, so I'm just going to do that. Oh, it's a fast video. Super low quality. Can we go 1440? Oh, that's better. Oh, let's try that again with better quality. Okay. See, that's the thing with the Oculus. They can kind of see your fingers move. Cool. Virtual reality, ready for work. Ready for work, Captain. See, there's the workplace by Facebook. Oh, sorry, work. Did I say workspace before? Workplace. What is that? What is that? That sound. Oh, the guy in the space, the astronaut. It sounded like somebody's playing with something. He is playing with something. What's he doing? What's he doing? I think it's a. Oh, what happened here? There it is. Huh. Ooh, nice shot. Cool. Look at the high definition they got going on here. I have it on the maximum? Yep. That's pretty good. Like the quality they got on that camera. It was wild, eh? Like, how do you train somebody? You need water. Lots of water, deep water. It's really the only way. For anti-gravity, there's really no other way to do it. I can't see. I don't know who that is. I think that's a female. See? You don't know. Genderized. See? Pronouns. Cool. Like building space things in space just takes forever. You only send a little bit up at a time. Anyways. So you can do spacewalks with virtual reality. A lot cheaper. We want the full screen though. Kind of like that, like a little picture in picture. Have it kind of in the background. This is a really short video. This is like a commercials workspace. It wasn't very cool. I think Ford has one on here. I think Ford does one. Ford has the thing where they do their business, or they show their cars. Oh, see, this is it right here.
Virtual reality seems to be this thing that is so futuristic, but for us, that's just the medium that you use to create in the physical world.
Gravity Sketch is a 3D napkin sketch tool. It was driven from this need to communicate your idea much more clearly.
Because it's so easy and quick to create in Gravity Sketch, they're able to cut their design time substantially. People are actually having fun when they're designing. Why not? We are creatives. We love making stuff.
VR is one of the first technologies that's actually aligned itself so closely to our natural abilities and gotten out of the way. And now we can actually focus more on difficult subjects like behavioral change.
Whoa.
We could put the learner in a position of a manager, and they're put in the line of fire with another colleague. We give people the tools to listen, be empathetic in conversations that feel real. We trained 3,000 people inside of 2 days, and everybody had a personal learning experience. Their palms sweat. They feel uncomfortable when in real life they would feel uncomfortable.
Oh.
With spatial, we can put on a headset, and even if we're not in the same room as someone, we can feel like we are. You can create these project rooms, kind of like a 3D version of Zoom.
So everybody has to have a headset.
There's an opportunity to get in there early, put our humanistic ideals into the technology so that it can be creative and collaborative. Oculus is investing so heavily just across every layer of the stack, whether it's the development, the hardware, the outreach. They're loaning devices to companies who are VR curious. And it's really cool that they're being
VR,
innovative.
That's a thing now. I heard that before, VR
client.
curious.
It felt like something that they could adopt and roll out wide.
We actually work really closely with the Oculus team. Having someone in your back pocket to reach out to that understands the technology intrinsically, it's been a huge leg up for us.
Now we have our community growing every day. VR is now.
VR is cool for, VR is cool. Stop it. No. No. Gotta listen to some tunes. These are all copyright-free tunes, by the way. So don't go zapping my stream there. Like last week. Zapped it. Oh. I was playing a video on a public broadcast network last week for like for I guess 9-year-old video on a public broadcaster, which is taxpayer funded, by the way. And I'm playing this Dragon's Den CBC show. Well, they zapped it. Whatever. I like that. I like that. Sorry. So you need the hardware, right? Gotta have the hardware. See, those are the little cameras right around here. They can have different accessories on here. Like you can get different things for faces, and you can have ones with glasses. That allow room for glasses and stuff. View full specs. Of course, we're gonna view the full specs. Oculus Quest 2 tech specs deep dive. All-in-one virtual reality. That's right. So there's no cords with it. It's full free motion. So there's no PC that's required. Inside, out tracking. Touch controllers. 1832 by 1920 per eye. See, these are some things that if you're not in the VR industry, you might not. This might be a little like, well, you know, I'm used to this, and this. Battery life 2 to 3 hours. I heard that's like an issue. See, RX inserts. Those are the glasses. Product frequently asked questions. Oculus Business Solution is a solution available with your purchase of an Oculus Quest and/or Oculus Quest 2 headset. Oculus Quest for Business on Oculus Quest and Quest 2 headset offers a secure and reliable solution to deploy virtual reality in a business environment. And what if I purchase a Oculus Rift S or Oculus Go as a development platform? You know, it's become clear that Oculus Quest and Oculus Quest 2, with its high-end graphics and fully immersive capabilities, is the best solution. See, here it is. What is the difference between consumer edition devices found in retail and online enterprise device edition? There are no hardware differences. It's the same hardware between consumer edition and enterprise edition devices. However, consumer edition devices are subject to the consumer terms of service, blah, 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 which grant right to use the software solely for personal and non-commercial purposes, while the enterprise edition devices are subject to the enterprise user agreement, which grant a right to use applicable software for commercial purposes in your commercial organization. Further, Oculus Quest and Quest 2 is enabled for our end-to-end Oculus for Business solution described here. The headset software in Oculus Quest and Oculus Quest 2 is different from the headset and software in our consumer edition devices. So you can use the device, no hardware is no different, you just have to like format it and reload it. It's really meant for business, so it's what it's meant for. Where's the VR Curious? I see that before. VR Curious. VR Curious. VR Curious. How can I purchase a device? Press the distribution channels. Countries listed here. Of course you can get it. Countries listed here. So these are the only countries that you can get it. So chances are if you're watching this, you're in one of these countries. Likely. Might not be. Who knows? Dun, 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 dun. So yeah, that's it. That is the Oculus Quest, Oculus Business, what it's used for. You know, it's kind of the thing. Oh, this is the Ford. Is this Ford? No, that's Nestle. Yeah, no, there's a Ford one that's really good. DHL, Farmers Insurance. Insurance. What you can do with insurance? It's not cool. Renewables, cool, yeah. Nimbus Therapeutics, okay. Oh, there's one with Ford, the guys from Ford. Car companies would be all in this. It'd be cool. So where do you think you could go with it? Well, shopping. I'd like to see shopping. So you could like cruise through a mall or something, or do some shopping, without having to leave a location. You can pick up and interact with things. That'd be cool. Virtual trade shows. You can go to the booths and interact with the booths. I see that. And then of course, entertainment industry and leisure. That's its own thing, right? Modeling, like for engineering and things like that, training. There's lots of applications in business, and chances are it's going to come to a company in yours one of these days, right? Right? I think so too. And it's done by Facebook, so they've got some money to make it work, and they've got the network and the marketing power. And I mean, the funny thing is so great segue here. We get into a little bit about inventions. This was at one point in time was a failed product. So there you go. This is a product that virtual reality did not do well commercially, and it took a long time to catch on. Now it's just the technology's caught up, and now it's more available. So we'll get into that in a bit. So in the meantime, it's the 1 hour mark, and in the meantime, I'm going to take a quick break here, and then I'm going to bring over to we're going to talk a little bit about Big Life, okay, and then we're going to show a little bit about the Big Life website, and then we'll get back into some inventions. So we'll see you in a bit. Give me a second. We'll be right back. Well now. Okay, I guess I didn't have my audio up, but that's okay. We're good. We're good. We're good. I don't have a stream deck. I'm trying to work my way around it without having a stream deck. It's I still like it. I don't mind it. Mouse and keyboard, no big deal, right? We'll still use it. Okay, so I wanted to stand up. I wanted to talk a little about this and, you know, kind of engage with some of the viewers here. Big year. One of the big things. I'll read a paragraph here. That was really great. I'm sure we had some tremendous success in spite of the odds. Reviewing our numbers, I have to pinch myself. It's another year with 0 elephants and 0 rhinos poached in our area of operation. So the Ambroselli, that's the area that they work in usually. So that's great for them, right? Not to say that there's 0 all around the continent of Africa. It's a huge continent, but in their region, they had 0 elephants and 0 rhinos poached. That's great. These 10 plus years building up our anti-poaching programs with our community rangers have really paid off. Our rangers excel at being nimble and adapting rapidly changing conditions. In the fourth quarter, they also arrested 10 suspects for bushmeat poaching, 26 for trophy possessions, removed 95 snares, prevented 25 crop raids by elephants, and prevented 4 lion hunts with our partners, and responded to 23 bushfires. So you see an organization like Big Life, they're not just, you know, anti-poaching, which is part of it. They understand there's a bigger picture. That's what makes them special, and that's what makes most of these rangers out there special. Is that they have to work with the communities, so that's big for them, right? One of the sad things about that happened this year and happened the year before, last year as well, is that there was a number of rangers that were killed because of poaching and because from poachers. It's a big business, and they, you know, so there's a number of rangers killed because of this. So our condolences out to them and their families. You know, but fighting for causes like this, you know, near and dear to my heart, and I hope other people, it becomes something that they can get behind as well. And yeah, so hopefully we can all fight and just change the mentality and the thinking of, you know, humanity, and end the senseless, you know, destruction of precious life. But the other thing that's really important that is we have to understand is that it's not just a direct attack on, you know, getting ivory and poaching. It's their habitat. The avocados that you eat and some of the sweet snap peas that you get, huge industry now, and they're having to find more ways to grow these crops and more cheaper and more economical ways, and oftentimes it affects wildlife, and especially with some avocados. So make sure that you're watching where your food is coming from, especially with some of these more exotic, you know, fruits and vegetables. Is oftentimes they have to cut down portions of the rainforest to do it, and you know, the precious ecosystem in, you know, in and around Africa is so delicate, and by shrinking their habitat, you affect you prevent them from breeding, from you prevent them from having a normal grazing and normal where they travel to different watering holes, and you know, these things like that. So you disrupt their entire way of life, and it affects them immensely. So it's not just poaching, but it's a bigger, broader picture. So I hope everybody can get behind, you know, Big Life Foundation. There's a number of them out there. Tuska's another one. But I work with Big Life, and I try to support Big Life where I can. And again, they're not sponsoring the stream or anything. This is purely for them to give them some notoriety and some highlight what they do. So yeah, we'll be right back in a minute with more of the show. Love that bass, eh? That's so raw, crunchy, right? Bring it back in. Love that. Good tune. Oh, hear the stereo going back and forth each year. Doing the DJ. This is courtesy of Epic Laughs, by the way. Whoa! Hey, listen to this guy. It's funny, the VR looks so silly when you're on the when you're looking at somebody doing it. It looks so silly. When you're doing it, it looks awesome. Like this guy. Whoa! Whoa!
He's gonna be biting the tree.
He's gonna. Oh, there it is.
Oh my God! Watch out!
I didn't care. Oh, there's an Oculus. Well, that's I like that. Well, these ones with you stick your phone in it. They do it right. I've done it before, the phone thing. It's all right.
You should stand up, Gabe.
It's PS4 one.
Now that I'm running into things. Oh yeah, tell me
That wasn't
to
that
stand
bad.
up.
There's another Oculus. Is it? Maybe not. No, it's not. Oh no 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 no! Oh no no no! Okay, Grandma doing it. Okay, Grandma. Watch out.
Nick! Watch out, Nick! Nick, watch out! Where the dog? That's where the dogs were.
PlayStation. I didn't mind the PlayStation 1. The PlayStation 1 is not bad. Beat Saber? There's some good games out there now for VR.
Sorry! Oh my God!
He's too far.
Sorry to the wall. Sorry, man. Sorry.
All right, walk forward. Look over the edge. Walk off.
Oh, right to the fish tank. You're not gonna do the fish tank explode? Oh, that would have been way better. Gaming chair. I think, is that the packaging from it? The packaging? They just get it. Noobs. What's this? What kind of virtuality game is this? Is that a game or is this guy? Here, put this on.
Okay, my basketball.
You dummy. You hear that laugh? No, it didn't. The pixels changed. And it made it look like it flew at you. Oh, kids. I feel like kids would handle this better than adults in a diaper. Oh, it's a phone one. Who cares?
Now we're gonna crawl up the hole.
Oh, yes. Drunk guy. Drunk guy.
Wait, oh, no, no.
There we go. What's this guy doing? Beat Saber? No. Is it? Can't tell. PlayStation? Where is it? Where did I put my bong? Oh! Oh, you know what? That's a Christmas present. Will kids get this for Christmas? Amazing. Oh, that was fun. That was fun. So there's some pretty cool VR games out there nowadays. Let me see here. Recent ones. VR Fails is good though. VR Fails. Just watch that one. 2020? Only 5,700 views. I feel like this person needs more views. 4 months ago. Didn't we just see that guy? Yeah, same one. Oh, there we go. Love that. I just right over.
You feel good, bro? This nigga ain't scared. He just jumping straight off.
I want one of those for the house. Whoa! Oh, this is like a what you would see in this is like that's what the Oculus business would be like. I'm going to show you this car. This is, it looks so funny from the outside looking in. Got a wire connect to your head, bud. Now what? Hang yourself? There you go. Whoa, whoa. Oh, whack-a-mole. Boom. Smasher. Right in the head. Oh! Oh, she pushes him. That's what it is. Oh, no, no, no. Is it that scary? Keep going. Keep going. You'll get away. See, I think kids handle this stuff better. Besides that, falling forward. Virtual reality turkey dinner. A lot of these are just the cord still connected. That's why the Oculus one with the Quest 2 without the cords on it, that's it. You gotta have the cord. Cords are done. Cords are done. And the thing is you could be a lot closer. You don't have to worry so much about like the screen like quality as much because you're so close to it. So it's really little. The screen's super small. Like this. And they put like little, be like this big. And they put like
Hey, get up!
knocked himself
Hey.
out.
Oh my god! Oh!
He passed out. Fainted. Yeah, that's it. Whack him. Bam. No, 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 no.
You can't panic! Oh, Gabrielle could never do that.
Oh, probably not.
I don't get it. He's watching him freak out. It's only so funny.
What's he done? The plank is up, Peter Pan. Oi!
Yeah.
You okay?
The doll's next to me!
Enough of that nonsense. All right.
At about 25.
Second thought.
Since before the beginning of the space race, people have looked up at the stars and wondered what it would be like to live on other planets. The more optimistic among us have long held that humans are destined to become a multiplanetary species.
Yeah.
And maybe they're right, despite
Maybe.
the big problems we face on our current planet,
Maybe.
which is vastly better suited to supporting life. The prime candidate for a second home planet is Mars, though Venus is also enticing. A
Yes.
handful of
A lot of
eccentric
people don't realize
visionaries
that.
like Elon Musk have even gone so far as to develop semi-concrete plans of how to build a functional permanent colony on Mars. Whether you think this kind of plan is likely to succeed or not, the idea of a large Martian colony is fascinating. In this episode, we're going to consider what it would take to sustain a colony of 1 million people. First, let's compare specs on our two planets. Despite their obvious differences, the red planet and the blue planet do have some things in common. For example, thanks to their similar rotation speed, one day on Mars is only about 44 minutes longer than a day on Earth. The red
Yeah.
planet's axial tilt is also very similar to Earth, at about 25 degrees to our planet's 23. This means that Mars undergoes similar seasonal and temperature variations. Both are rocky planets with metallic cores and similar mineral composition. They have similar surface structures, including mountains, canyons, and deserts. But the differences between the two planets are much more significant than what they have in common. Perhaps the most significant is the Martian atmosphere. Unlike on Earth, the atmosphere on Mars is very thin, only measuring about 1% of the Earth's atmospheric pressure and completely unbreathable for humans. It's composed of about 96% CO2, 2% argon, and 2% nitrogen, with trace amounts of oxygen and water vapor. This stark contrast leads to another.
Not enough for you to live on.
Mars is drastically colder than Earth, averaging negative 46 degrees Celsius, with
That's a
brutal
problem.
lows of minus 143 in the winter and highs of 35 degrees Celsius in the summer on the equator. Mars is also very dry and dusty, and is buffeted by frequent sandstorms. The planet also lacks any reasonably sized magnetosphere. What little remains of its magnetic shield measure between 16 and 40 times weaker than Earth's, which leaves Mars susceptible to harmful cosmic rays. Gravity clocks in at about 37% that of Earth, which would be a small challenge
Everybody
to
understanding
overcome,
this?
but nothing
Write
compared
down.
to the temperature and lack of atmosphere. One final problem is the lack of liquid water. Mars does have water at the poles, but it's mostly frozen and nowhere near the amount we have on Earth. Any successful Martian colony would have to contend with these big problems, and fight to establish any kind of hospitable environment on what should be considered a world hostile to life.
We'll tell you
let's
the
tackle
secret in
those
a bit.
challenges. The first big one would be setting up a habitat that could support large numbers of humans, protect them from the cold and frequent dust storms, provide breathable air, safe drinking water, a way to produce food, and a shield against lethal cosmic rays. No big deal, right? Step 1 would be a large enclosure to act as a central hub for our 1 million Martian colonists. This has often been envisioned as a city beneath a big glass dome, providing light but also protection from the elements. Elon Musk has also speculated that this could be a good formula for his Mars colony, saying that a pressurized glass dome with parks and plant life could be a very pleasant way to live during the long process of terraforming Mars into a more hospitable home. But in order to have a functional colony beneath this utopian dome, you'd need a way to power it. The current frontrunners for powering a Mars base are solar and nuclear, depending on who you ask. Solar obviously comes without the risk of accidental irradiation, but it will require a lot of land area for solar farms. That shouldn't matter though, since Mars is currently nothing but open land and the colony will be fairly small. The settlement would also need large energy storage units for the frequent periods of darkness caused by violent dust storms, which could also damage the solar
Where
panels.
would 1 million people
Assuming
work?
we get the power working, the next critical step
What
would
do
be
we do?
food and water production. In theory, food
So-
would be easy enough as long as the colony
Again,
has access to plenty of water.
what do
We
we do
have
for
very
work?
advanced and highly productive hydroponic farms here on Earth, and there's no reason we couldn't do the same thing on Mars. You don't even need natural light or soil, so the farms could very easily be built underground for saving space and added protection. It's likely that a Martian colonist would have to be okay with synthetic meat or an entirely plant-based diet, because shuttling livestock to Mars might prove to be a bit too challenging, not to mention the added complexity of keeping large numbers of animals healthy and fed. Establishing a secure and consistent source of oxygen and water is probably the biggest hurdle in building a colony on a largely airless, waterless
Again,
world.
what do we
One
do for
proposed
work?
solution is to
How do we do
extract carbon
this?
dioxide from the atmosphere and
Do we
split
have the same
molecules into
type of
carbon and
economy?
oxygen. It would certainly be easier to make an automated atmospheric CO2 extraction
To get rid of
system
the
than a
economy?
fully autonomous mining rig with excavators and complex equipment to pull CO2 from the soil. But that is another option.
What if you're never
As for
returning?
water,
What if you never
NASA
come
is
back?
currently investigating the
What
possibility
is
of extracting water from underground
Earth-based money
reservoirs and using
matter?
highly efficient recycling methods to reduce the overall demand for fresh water. Whether there's enough subsurface water on Mars remains to be seen, but another option would be sourcing ice from the poles, which could be processed into clean, usable water. To make a long story short, we'd have to look at Mars as the British did the Americas, which comes with its own set of ethical concerns, but that's another topic entirely. We could supply the initial and essential components to jumpstart a small outpost, but in order to scale up to include 1 million people, the Martian colony would have to become completely self-sufficient. It would have to make use of the materials within the Martian environment, because relying on shipments from Earth would be both incredibly expensive and very dangerous. If the colony had no way to produce its own oxygen, for example, and something went wrong with the shipment from Earth, there would be a very real risk of all the colonists dying. The proposed solution here is to develop technologies
it's
that
worth
work
it.
with the Martian environment instead of fighting against it. We've already seen promising proposals for methods of making building materials from Martian soil, such as a process called molten regolith electrolysis, which is a fancy term for using electricity to break down silicates into their base components in a single step. This has the dual benefit of creating a metallic alloy that can be used for construction, while simultaneously releasing oxygen that can be harnessed for life support systems. All of these things are critical to establish a successful colony on Mars. But the most important aspect is the colonists themselves. We'll need scientists and
we need internet
experts,
there. How do we get the internet?
We need normal people with a knack for fixing things. People who can think on their feet when something goes wrong. Find
normal people with a knack for fixing things?
Creatively in order to make Martian life more meaningful.
Is that like
Those are areas where humans excel.
Would you put that on a resume?
We've got a long way to go before the
I'm a
technology
normal
is ready,
person
but our species has been prepared
with
for
a
long
knack
time.
for fixing things.
If you'd like to learn more about the daunting challenge of preparing for a Mars colony, I highly recommend you check out Packing for Mars on CuriosityStream. It's a fascinating documentary that highlights just how carefully we have to plan our Mars mission before humans ever set foot on the Red Planet. If you watch my videos, you'll know that I'm a big fan of CuriosityStream. It's an online streaming service with
I like
thousands of
CuriosityStream
non-fiction titles from some of the best filmmakers in the game. You
All
can
right.
find tons of great episodes like Packing for Mars, and they've got a...
So one of the issues that they have currently right now, and it is an issue, is that we have to find part of the expense, and the major expense in colonizing Mars and all this is how do we get there, and how do we get there efficiently. Right now, the way that we do it, chemical rockets are extremely heavy, and they require a lot of energy and mass to move, so it's a whole trick. So I think one of the advantages to looking at it from a perspective of, do we go from the moon?
Or it was demonstrated in a relevant environment such as space.
And in your TRL range,
Do we go from the moon? That's no longer live streaming. And then do we build off of that? Do we create a moon colony first, and then learn from the moon colony? Because if anything goes wrong or there's an issue, I mean, it's not that far to get to the space station. It's not that far to get to Earth. In relative speak term, Mars is at right now is a trip of measured in years, right? Whereas the moon is 300,000 kilometers away. So it's relatively close in comparison. And is it a good training ground? The moon has lots of water. A lot of people don't realize that, but the moon has tons of water. So I'll show you how much water is on the moon. Lots of it. More than we thought. Here, I'll show you. This is a quick little zip it of how much water is on the moon. So if you're going to use chemical rocket, hydrogen type thing.
Since the 1960s, scientists have suspected that frozen water could survive in permanently shadowed craters at the moon's poles.
All over it.
Both hydrogen and oxygen could be trapped within the lunar soil. So to find water on the moon, scientists are looking for indications of hydrogen using the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter's LEND neutron detector. By observing the interaction of neutrons with the lunar soil, scientists can interpret how much hydrogen is likely to be present. In order to make a detailed interpretation, however, LEND needs to observe a large number of neutrons. Because LRO is constantly moving, LEND is never over one place long enough to count many neutrons. So, to make a detailed interpretation of neutron flux, scientists add together many measurements from many orbits. With each orbit, LEND's dataset gets larger, and its picture of neutron flux continually improves over time. The dark blue regions in this visualization are places on the south pole of the moon with a suppressed flux of neutrons because of their interaction with hydrogen. These areas strongly suggest the presence of water frozen within the soil. While previous lunar missions have observed indications of hydrogen at the moon's south pole, the LEND measurements for the first time pinpoint where hydrogen, and thus water, is likely to exist. By
all
combining
over.
years of lens data, scientists see accumulating evidence that there is water on the moon. And as LRO continues to return data, our picture of the moon and its water will continue to get better in the years ahead.
Yeah, that's great, but that's not what they did. They shot a missile at the moon and then they exploded it, made a little crater, and then they put sensors through the dust clouds and actually measured it. How much water's on the moon? It's more than they realize. 2 months ago. Oh, here we go. This is better.
There's a plan.
Let's watch
for
Neil
every ambition
deGrasse Tyson.
With CIBC Goal Planner.
He's never
it helps
wrong.
you clearly map your goals and easily track your progress. So no matter your ambition,
That's a joke.
let's get it
Scientists
moving
are always
with
wrong, but
CIBC Goal Planner.
they're supposed to be.
CIBC ambitions
They're
made real.
peer-reviewed.
We are
and they're,
literally over the moon for this next story. On Monday, NASA made an
proven wrong all the time.
out-of-this-world announcement. Researchers finding traces of water on the sunlit surface of the moon. And so we had to bring in astrophysicist and host of Cosmos, Possible Worlds, Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
He's so over us.
To break down what that means. Neil, I thank you for answering the call, my friend. Who's going to stop answering your calls?
If you keep this up, this is going to become a science show.
No. Al's just
Nothing wrong with
fascinated
that,
with
yeah.
it.
So we want to clarify. So NASA didn't find like puddles of water or anything, just molecules spread out so they don't form ice or liquid water. So what makes them so giddy about this?
Yeah. So you're not going swimming or ice skating in this repository of water that they found on the moon. So just to set up what's going on here is if you go near the poles, where the height of the sun in the daytime, it doesn't get very high. All right, so the arc from sunrise to sunset is very low. Imagine you can have craters with rims sufficiently high that sunlight never actually reaches the bottom of the crater ever. Okay, so we have always known of the likelihood that you could trap water in those locations, and they're called cold traps. And how do you get the water? You get hit by a comet or a water-rich asteroid. The water molecules ascend and then fall back down all around the lunar surface. But if it lands in the cold trap, it's never coming out ever. All right. Now, how about the rest of the water? Well, if you land near the equator, the sunlight is very intense, and in the lunar daytime, it evaporates. So what we did not expect was that if you had water that's sort of closer to where the poles are, but not necessarily in the cold trap, that you would still have preserved a sort of a molecular array of water molecules at those locations. See? And I have to add that, just to be clear,
yes,
all sides of the moon get sunlight.
I have a question.
Okay? All sides of the moon. Unlike the Pink Floyd album, Dark Side of the Moon, there's no such thing as a dark side of the moon.
Oh.
Okay? I've had to undo that for the last 40 years. Okay? So, to be clear.
I have a question. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, that's why you're here.
I feel like I'm in second grade. I have a question. In second grade, they'd be like, oh, Chanel. Sorry, I'm having PTSD.
Chanel.
So here's my question, and I mean this with all due respect. Why do we care? I mean, are we going to hopefully dock there and people can have the water, or is there life somewhere swimming around? Like, why do we care that we found a little water?
Okay, so first, you don't want to be the person who 30,000 years ago would have said, when I open the cave door and I say, oh, that's interesting out there, I want to go visit that. You say, no, we have cave problems we have to solve first before anyone leaves the cave. You don't want to be that person, okay, just to be clear. Second, it costs about $10,000 a pound to lift anything into orbit and take it somewhere in the solar system. $10,000 a pound. So if you're an astronaut anywhere in the solar system and you need water, NASA has to pay $10,000 for one of these, Avion containers just for you to drink. So imagine
Sponsored by
you set
Avion.
up a surface mining operation, gathering these water molecules and then bottling it. You could then sell that to NASA for $9,000.
You could sell moon water here on Earth for $20,000.
Okay, so in situ, as we call it, resources are of extreme value to any activities that are going on in space when we are imagining the solar system becoming our backyard in the future.
So whatever you don't have to import, it's better to have. Neil, thank you so much. We always love having you.
We get an A.
And you can catch Cosmos Possible Worlds Tuesdays on Fox.
Cosmos.
Thanks so much.
We'll see you tomorrow, Neil. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Look at Craig's face.
So there you go. So that's the problem with chemical rockets, is that chemical rockets are so heavy. Every time you add weight to it, you have to pay that much more to, you know, shoot it up. So the weight itself of the rockets is super costly. So that's one of the reasons why SpaceX wants to bring the rockets back down, is that they can save the cost of the rocket, because it's very expensive. So if you can reuse that rocket, you can cut down on costs and stuff like that. So anyways, that I think we're going to wrap up for tonight. And this was fun. I think it was a good show. And I'm glad everybody was hung around and didn't hang around. And somebody did reach out to me on Discord. And we had a good time. And most everybody here is probably going to watch this on YouTube or another episode on Twitch. And feel free to follow and like and do all that stuff. You know, I'd love to do this more often. I try to do it every week, every Friday night. And yeah, if share your thoughts and opinions on everything. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right. Well, you guys have a great evening, and we'll catch you later.